What?
That
Wow.
black screen that Evie Mux leaves me in. I've got to fix this. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
You took off the red lavender shirt. I don't get to call you Hugh Hefner. You ruined my opening.
Oh no, no, we're not going to take that fun away from you. Some people will just be arriving and they get to see the Hugh Hefner 1970s look. There we go.
If if you had had a gold chain on there, that would have removed any. See, with that shadow, I thought Jack was actually just like trying to show off his chest hair, and it turns out it's an owl hiding under his shirt.
Not a lot of chest hair into there. Yeah, it's my feminine side. Okay, can I expose my owl? We're going to be talking birds today and bird brains. Which here's the opening, leading, obvious question: what does bird brains mean, and who has the bird brains?
Yeah.
Is it the birds, or is it maybe the humans? And that picture there is on the left is a young woman who currently is facing 4.5 years ish in jail for rescuing chickens from a slaughterhouse. In the middle of that picture, there is a barred owl. I find myself saying barred owl, because that's the way that the man on the right in the
Oh
suit,
God.
Senator John, John, I was saying Jack, John Kennedy from Louisiana, Republican, with whom I've never agreed on anything with, for, about. I now find myself like, wow, he got up and made what is it, like a 24 minute impassioned plea on the Senate floor to not have the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, part of the Department of Interior, implement a barred owl slaughtering program to kill 450,000 plus owls over 30 years, 3 Western states. So there's a perhaps bird-brained idea right there. So we got a lot to cover this morning.
So we're going to talk about the encephalization quotient because people think that while birds have small brains relative to us, they have very small bodies too. So are their brains actually that small? And of course, we all know. Well, we don't all know. Many people don't know, but there's actually quite a bit of information out there about how intelligent birds are if you're willing to look.
Yeah,
So I have a little bit of small talk before we get into the main topic.
please.
And let's say good morning to Ray Cooper. Don't be shy, viewers. Please interact with us. Provide your questions. I put out a new video this morning, and it was based on thoughts I've had for a very long time about the McClure Ranch. We you and I have done shows about the rate of the lease that the ranchers in Point Reyes were paying that is so low it was actually determined to be illegal. Illegal. Nothing's come of it. Uh, but this goes into the status of the farm workers that people are suddenly concerned about when they've never been concerned about them before. And housing is part of the negotiation for the wages of these people. Just in case people don't understand, in order to pay these people even less, the millionaire employers paying them even less, the land that they're paying almost nothing for includes structures that they can use to house people that they barely pay anything to.
So just to be clear, this is Point Reyes Seashore Ranchers. It was 14 of them. 12 of them are going to be leaving, who are leasing land from the National Park Service, federal government. Good morning, Susan Kurtz, by the way. And they in turn land to their employees rather than pay them money. They give them a living space, which is financed by the federal government, by the taxpayer ultimately. That's who you're talking about.
Well, the copy of the leases that I saw, they cannot rent them, but apparently they're allowed to house people there. But when the ranches close, they're not supposed to be um, renting just as a source of profit. But if you were to consider, so here's a comparison because just like in the conversation I was having with someone yesterday, you can say 1,000 acres, and if the person presenting that also says that's a small farm, maybe in your brain you're not sure whether it's a small farm or not. But if you have seen Golden Gate Park and know the size of Golden Gate Park, that's about the same size as McClure Ranch. McClure Ranch, 1,076 acres.
Wow.
And he's getting it for less than an apartment in San Francisco costs.
It's like $1,500 a month or something like that.
3,500, and sadly, that is less than an apartment in San Francisco.
Got it. Sorry. Right. And that's, say again, 1,000 acres?
1,076.
With buildings on it, with living space as well included in that. It's not just the land; it's also a place where he can live for 35.
And the grazing fee, everything's included in that.
On the Pacific Ocean, as your map indicated there in the top diagram.
Correct.
Wow.
And so, I guess I had this thought yesterday. These people lost their jobs. A lot of us have lost our jobs, and usually there's something to cushion us, such as a severance package. Maybe you even have to go on unemployment benefits. Why has anyone even asked why neither of those things exist for these ranch hands? I mean, we don't even have to go any further. Has anyone asked that simple question? Why don't these things exist for these people who worked for 30 years? We hear the sob story about how long they worked. Well, geez, I would like to think that there is a savings plan, a severance package. Maybe where were the 401ks that the ranchers set up for these people that they supposedly care about? Where the federal unemployment benefits at? Anyway, there's a lot of answers. We don't have to answer them today.
It's a whole nother show. Looks like we'll do that in the future, but we should go to the birds. We've got a couple more people showing up. Ray Cooper, NC, talking about deadly flu strains on duck farms, of course, because big industrial chicken and duck and Thanksgiving turkey, as I call them now, sheds are also, breeding places for diseases that then cross over out of the bird populations. And good morning, Corinne, as well. So let's see. We have
two more things. Have you noticed how I used to barbecue? I used to grill. Now I see a neighbor do it like on the weekends, and I just never really quite realize how stupid it is to fill a metal container with a bunch of coal, cover it with lighter fluid, set it on fire, and then leave it burn for God knows how long until the coals finally get to a point where you can convert the meat that you're naturally supposed to be able to consume into something that you can consume. But the meat eating part is just the icing on the cake. I was just like, this entire process is insanely wasteful.
Well, you are dating yourself, my friend, that I'm older than you, which is, I remember hibachis had a big push, and then it was the Weber grill. I mean, these brands that Americans get into. And then, of course, that's already 30 years out of date. Now it's you buy a $500 or a cheapy one or $1,000 for a good one, an outdoor stove, basically. It's got a propane tank underneath it, or better yet, it's hooked up to a gas line on your patio, so you go outside and cook it outside, because there's something nice about cooking over a fire, but it's the modern way where you spend $1,000 to get a cool machine that does it for you with a gas line or a gas tank underneath, propane tank, right?
And I'll date myself again. My last random topic, just to express old man fear, is it was hard enough for us to help human beings understand what was real and fake before AI, especially as someone trying to help people not be so scared of sharks, who think that Hollywood movies are accurate portrayals of sharks. Now you got AI coming in and throwing a whole nother bit of complication into it. The Onion, you're like, the lines of humor and reality are getting blurred because as funny as what Onion says, you go to what's really happening, especially with this administration. It's like, well, which one's crazier, the fake story or the real story? And now we're going to have AI adding to these fake stories and actually making it fake news.
It's one of the many reasons I stopped pursuing professional photography. I mean, occasionally still shoot things on the side, and I'm still pretty good at it. I like to imagine because I've done it for so many years. But that profession is going to continue to shrink. I just saw a post about it this morning, meaning the picture behind me, which is actually created of 146 naked bodies on a beach in the Caribbean, can just be done in AI now. You just talk to it and produce it, so it no longer has the power, the impact of a document of something in reality. And now that's happening with video, of course. That's what AI will do, where you look at something online. And let me leap way ahead because we got to get to our show here about Boyd's, which is the good news I'm going to extract from that apocalyptic vision of the future is that there will be us rebels who, wear our berets and our bandanas and our Tupperware cigarettes and say, to hell with this. I'm going offline. We're going off grid and actually get together in tribes of outcasts who just talk with each other in real time and touch real bodies and just abandon the whole tech universe of, Elon Musk. And, he represents it perfectly in a way. So rebels unite.
Yeah, getting back to what we used to call savages because we were so proud of this insulated, civilized world that we created. Although, if you go on a vacation, you go back to acting like a quote unquote savage and sit inside of nature. Or at least you used to. Now people take their entire living rooms with them out to nature and destroy it too. I won't even go camping anymore because I know that the people nearby are going to be just horrifying. I don't bother wasting my time. I'll read John Spears' comment before we get too much further. He's responding to the bit I said earlier about benefits for the ranch hands. Ranching is a tough job. People willing to do such work in Marin County are vulnerable immigrants, and ranchers exploit their vulnerability, i.e., no 401k packages. Yeah, I mean, I never really expected there to be 401k packages. I just wonder. I'm a little bit dumbfounded at how little thought process is going into this from the people that are anxious to villainize whoever they're blaming for these ranches leaving.
Well, it's for me, it's the uneducated public that believes the propaganda, aka lies, that ranchers tell about how it's all the environmentalists' fault when the ranchers are the perpetrators of the land, of the animals, and of course they're victimized, underpaid ranch workers. Those are the culprits, and then people believe those lies. That's the scary part for me.
You know what also is funny though? Isn't working the ranch glorified in images all the time? And usually, depending on your marketing campaign, actually includes Caucasians in that. But reality is they're not doing it and they're getting other people to do it for them. And I get that some people don't find that to be enjoyable work, but like I actually would love, I don't want to abuse animals or do anything agriculture related, but like doing real hard work outdoors with my hands just seems like a fantastic opportunity now. And we can't get even the people that portray themselves as being into it to do it.
Well, they're riding around as you show in some of our shows, riding around in their motorized two-stroke engine vehicles, tending the land while running roughshod over it and spewing carbon emissions. No judgment.
That's on the rare occasion that they come out to visit.
Right.
In their other homes on their other properties.
I've got crows outside begging for food, and I've got my cat going in and out because she's all excited this morning. So I'm a little distracted, but I'll knuckle down. I promise. Let's get to it, shall we? I don't know, folks. Skyward and I talk about it. How much do we schmooze? Like as I say, the Howard Stern show from New York back in the day, where people hang out for 3 hours, versus, oh my God, these guys are just blabbing on. Let's get to the show, shall we? We're bored.
President with me today.
Great.
Where did you want me to fast forward to?
Oh, it's the let's see. From the 13-minute, 10-second mark. It's going to be 2 minutes. And if you put it on the screen without playing it, I'll set it up. So again, this is so you're going to go find the 13:10 mark. Thank you, sir.
I'm just going to make it really big for a minute so people can see.
No, that's great. Yeah, we don't need us to just show him.
The Elmer Fudd thing.
So this is Senator John Kennedy, Republican of Louisiana, who, gosh, today is Tuesday. What day last week? Forgive me, I forget now ahead of me, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday of last week, made an impassioned plea. Please, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, do not implement the pending plan to kill 450,000. I'm going to say that number again in a different way. Almost 500,000 wild barred owls in the forest of California, Oregon, and Washington State in the supposed attempt to protect the other species, what we loosely call a cousin owl, the spotted owl, the northern spotted owl, or NSO. That's an endangered species, whereas the barred owl is not endangered. It's a threatened species, and it's protected under, they're both owls actually are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act for about 100 years. But this is...
In what way are they protected?
Well, exactly. I mean, they make exemptions for this, and I'm going to get into, I mean, what he doesn't cover. I mean, so this is the first time in my life that I've agreed with Senator Kennedy on anything. And, you know, he has a good time, and he's known for, I can't do a Southern accent, so everyone from the South, please forgive me for being an idiot Yankee, but it's like, I'm just a simple country lawyer. And he's a very smart guy, but he has his colorful way of speaking, and he brought out the Elmer Fudd diagram, as they sometimes do in the Senate. So anyway, he spoke for 23 minutes. I just want to play
As they sometimes do in the Senate?
What's that?
What was that last line? As they sometimes do in the Senate?
No, meaning they now show pictures and do memes, and, you know, they try to compete and get attention in a way they never used to do. It used to just be charts and graphs and numbers. They're trying to keep up, and
you know, the people being paid to be there can't be bothered to pay attention.
Or be in the room, even. Or be in the room.
Or be in the room. Look at this.
Anyway, but this guy says a few things that are like, wow, right on, Senator. I agree with you for the first time. And of course, he doesn't get to the real reason this killing plan is going on, which I alone will fix, which is by telling folks what this is really about. Why would the Forest Service get involved in what I call invasion biology of killing one owl to save another, when, of course, none of that's true? Repeat, none of that is true. But what's the real reason in driving it? Even you won't know, Skylar, because it's twisted. It's sick and twisted.
I was going to say, I have a feeling that whatever this guy says, I'm going to find a way not to like it.
Go for it.
By the way, did you hear the news? California Fish and Wildlife killing a shitload of wolves recently. Yep.
No, I assume it's for ranchers. Is it Wildlife Services?
Yes, it's Wildlife Service is a whole nother
division, USDA
organization that kills wildlife.
Right.
Also, California Fish and Wildlife kills wildlife, and this, yes, was done for ranchers.
What would nature do without us? Oh, thank you. What a great image. Thank you.
We are fucked. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Fooked. PHUT. We are fooked. Please, this is a family show.
If that's his name, that's his name. Don't criticize how his name sounds. Just because you think it sounds like a curse word doesn't mean it is.
I don't even know what a curse word means. Please play. Let's go to the videotape, shall we? As they say.
I have it at 12:54.
Hang on a sec. 12:54.
Under President Trump has embraced this rule. They think this is the greatest rule. This is the greatest idea they've ever heard of. They think it tastes like pumpkin pie to them. In fact, I got a call from Secretary Burgum, who I love and respect. He was mad as a mama wasp. Pull down that regulation. He accused me of slandering the Trump administration. I'm not slandering the Trump administration.
God forbid.
This was a President Biden regulation.
Uh-huh. Right. Which it was.
Now, I was polite with the secretary, but I told him he was confused. He needed to call somebody. He had the wrong person on the line. The secretary needed to call somebody who cared what he thought.
Isn't that great?
Because I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong. I think he and the other members of the administrative state of the Department of Interior decided to play God. And they're wrong for at least 5 reasons. Number one, their plan, their Brainiac plan, which looks like it was designed by a heroin addict with a sock wrench, won't work.
Thought you'd like that.
It won't work. Now, let me tell you.
I just have to
Go ahead.
mix it up for
Yeah.
copyright purposes.
Sure.
Just stop. All right. And
What they're going to do. They want to hire hunters. They want to hire Elmer here to go out at night with a flashlight and shoot the barred owls.
True.
Now, this is night,
True.
okay? The barred owl lives about 40 feet up off the ground in a tree. You know what else lives about 40 feet up off the ground in a tree? The spotted owl. You think that these cowboys who are going disco because they have a federal contract are going to be able to always tell the difference between a barred owl and a spotted owl?
I'm sorry, did he just describe ICE agents trying to retain the correct person?
It's just I love what he's doing here. It's so great, and it's accurate. This part of what he says is really accurate. You know, they're going to pay people to do this stuff, and they're going to be paid per owl, and it's some insane number. If I have my numbers right, and I'm not sure I do, it's something like a few $1,000s per bird to go out and go hunt them down. $3,000. I mean, because it's $450 million. Excuse me, 450,000 owls, and the projected cost is $1.3 billion to do this. So they're going to pay hunters, and you think they're going to, if they shoot a northern spotted owl, A, do you think they'll know the difference? B, do you think they'll care? And even if they did know and care, they'll throw it in the pile, call it an owl, and get paid anyway. I mean, it's just
Jack, the quote unquote professionals don't even get it correct. They're shooting the wildlife services is shooting people's dogs when they're supposedly hunting wolves. I mean, and now these guys, and why do you have to pay people that get off on killing animals? I'm sure they would have been happy just to receive the permit to go into it. But hey, the money's going somewhere that isn't where it probably is being said to. I can't imagine it costs that much money to motivate killers to go kill.
Yeah. Just give them ammo and tell them to go kill things, and they're on it.
The other accuracy is Elmer Fudd. It's amazing how many hunters actually look like that pathetic, small-dicked little monster.
As Tom Lara, for those old enough to know who Tom Lara is, saying, you just stand there looking cute, and when something moves, you shoot. Go ahead. So we can quit at it's just another, 30, 40 seconds to the 15-minute mark. I'll do it. You'll see where there's a stopping point.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're going to shoot them both and let God sort them out because they're being paid. Look, I'm a duck hunter.
There you go.
And a lot of times when I hunt ducks, I'm not a big hunter, but I like to duck hunt and dove hunt.
Really?
I eat
yeah. I mean, it goes on and on and on. He does 20 minutes or so, and there's snippets in there, but that's the point.
But you talked over him during his most endearing point there. He said he eats what he kills, Jack. So he's a saint.
Well, again, he's going to go on to talk about duck hunting, which is just, it's not here nor there. I wanted to focus on the owl kill. Although I guess you're right. Our show is about birds and how, hell. So I can pick on this hunter from Louisiana who shoots ducks, but says, don't just shoot owls for nothing. Shoot ducks if you want to shoot them. Like, whatever. He makes the distinction there for whatever reason. I would then pick on my, fellow birders in Central Park from the Audubon Society who are adoring, God bless them. They're leaving their concrete jungles, going into the Ramble, which is a great bird flyover because it's one of the few oases, Central Park, for birds in Manhattan, in New York City.
An oasis full of human beings and dogs.
It is. I wouldn't have been able to live in the city as a young adult for a dozen professional years without that park.
Yeah, it's an oasis for you. I'm not so sure a bird thinks, oh, this is perfect. It's just what's available.
You are wrong. You're wrong, Skylar. You're wrong. They do, because there's thousands of birds in there. They're identified and, rare sightings and all that stuff because they got nowhere else to go because everything else is killed, right? They can hide in there a little bit. Anyway, my point my point is birders stand there, ooh and ah, while eating a chicken sandwich.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And like there's this cognitive dissonance. Well, that's a dumb bird. It's a chicken. It's got a bird brain. But look at that beautiful, Steller's jay or chickadee or whatever it is. Like it's a completely different species versus sentient, beautiful, gentle, loving creature. Why would we enjoy them for sport, but then the others we lock away in giant facilities and kill them willy-nilly for food?
Well, if Steller's jay produced more meat and did well in captivity, It could be they could swap places. Very well could have them in cages being consumed. That's
So
just the way we are.
yeah,
Corinne, if anything else is consistent, she always says, "Let the
shut up.
video play." Bad news. Apparently, that's all that Jack had
Well,
for us from
there's
that
more.
video.
He's all over the place, and I really. And the other thing, Corinne, is we're halfway into our show already, and we're going to also get into rescuing chickens as well. I mean, you want to play a little bit more, but it's not as focused. It goes all over the
Nah,
place.
no, I don't. That access gives me trauma from my childhood.
What does? I'm sorry.
His accent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's certainly colorful. Anyway, Corinne, so we really want to move on to the, and then leave time for us to make comments and respond to, we do like in this show to respond to people making comments in the chat. So please engage, folks. So again, this is
I
why.
think we're being. I think we're being optimistic to think that the only screw up is going to be the two different species of owls. There's going to be a lot of shit killed out there.
Exactly. And so I mean, you're a smart guy. So this is what you and I sort of bring things to
Oh,
each other and then let us comment. Oh, you are a smart ass and a smart guy, both. So what's actually driving this plan, Skylar? It's not paying
money?
renters, but how, of course it's
Oh,
money, but how? Who benefits
defor-
from this?
deforestation. You get rid of the protected species, therefore the land is not as protected, and the trees are not as protected.
Correct. So that's correct. And it gets even more nefarious and twisted than that. And I learned this from, I want to give credit to Animal Wellness Action, an organization, Wayne Pacelli, Pacelle, is the one that wrote about this. And I even had to read his thing again and again and again. I sort of drill down, as I like to do, because I'm not the brightest. I was going to say, I'm not the brightest bulb in the shed. That's a perfect mixed metaphor.
Okay, Trump.
Right, exactly. But I figured it out. It's like, oh, I see what he's saying. So why would we go demonize barred owls? And they're falsely labeled as being, aggressive and bigger, and they've been moved across the country, and now they're moving into northern spotted owl territory, which has an element of truth to it. All good lies have an element of truth, but they moved because of deforestation. As we cut down forests in the East Coast and the
Oh
Southeast.
yeah, we covered this last time you brought it up.
Right, right.
They've moved because they were forced to move.
Right. But even still, I'll cut to the chase. I'll cut to the chase and give everyone a break, because I can go on about this stuff because I go so crazy. If the logging industry can go to the forest, to Fish and Wildlife, and say, hey, we're doing a program that benefits the endangered northern spotted owl, they can get incidental take permits. Take is euphemism for kill. You're allowed to kill some spotted owls if you implement some program that benefits spotted owls. And the program that benefits spotting owls is killing 450,000 barred owls. So by killing barred owls and claiming to benefit spotted owls, which they don't, which they won't, which is bullshit, they get to cut into forests where there are northern spotted owls with incidental take permits. You're allowed to kill those birds there. Think how sick and twisted that plan is. And even sadder, it's working. It was Kennedy's efforts here were not successful. More Democrats voted for this plan to kill barred owls at a cost of 1.3 taxpayer billions of dollars than did Republicans who voted for it. I'm the good cop and you're the bad cop. You don't know what to say to that, do you, sir? Wow. That's how sick it is, man. So I wish there was something I could leave with people to do here, as I like to do. I don't know what there is to do right now other than educate people about this and see whether we can. I don't know what there is next. I honestly don't know. This is all recent news in the last couple of days. Local Auduboners, yes, thank you, Susan, are big meat eaters. Audubon is, I mean, here I go, like Skylar, like what good are they if they're pro cattle ranching, pro herbicides, not vegan, don't talk about any of these destructive forces that are cutting into bird habitat everywhere. What is your purpose other than collecting money and selling stickers of, birds or something? I don't understand.
I've heard more come out of Audubon Society telling us how cattle are good for birds than I've heard Audubon just teach us about birds.
And that's because they get millions of dollars from the cattle industry to say those things, to partner with the cattle industry to do ranching better, right? The usual corruption of capitalism there.
See, I think I said this last time you brought this up, so I don't have the fire to saying it the second time, but I think my conclusion was those forests are going to be destroyed either way. So you're just pretending that you're helping a species that is doomed in another way.
Yeah.
And that species is also going to have to move whatever forest is remaining, if there is one. I mean, between the fires and the deforestation.
Fires aren't destroying. Just let me say this again. Here's something incendiary. Forest fires, wildfires, are not destroying forests. They don't destroy forests. They will blacken them and kill lots of trees, and the forest will regenerate. The fact that we demonize wildfires is a way for logging to go in so we can manage forests before a fire and then do post-fire logging after. It's always to extract wood, either for timber or for now so-called biofuels, wood pellets. Fire,
Okay, I have two responses to that.
please.
Whether it's destroyed or not, the owls have to leave during the fire.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
they
fly
already they have some of their forests chopped down. Some of their forests are being hunted in, and some of their forests are on fire or recently were on fire.
because of deforestation, which is causing the cause of wildfires.
Yes, and fires don't burn naturally anymore. So the heat level is on a way in a way that it does destroy in a way that it didn't used to destroy. So
I
there is some
disagree.
destruction.
You and I will get into it, but I don't agree with that statement.
You don't think that ever happens? You don't. I gave you a specific example of how being next to a human structure caused a tree that would have survived to die.
You're saying the word unnatural. What does that mean? This is a natural reaction.
Us putting human fire causes and human caused climate change, human caused trees turning into dry sticks instead of the living creatures that they're supposed to be. All of these things cause it to be a fire that it wouldn't have been in the nice fire days.
And a bigger fire and a hotter fire. I'll grant you that. However,
Okay.
again, for me, we're just talking. We're coming at from different strategy viewpoints. For me, it's always the activist forest guy who's saying the goal right now of the forestry industry is to demonize forests as dangerous places. So I'm very careful with what I say. The demonization belongs on the humans, as we agree. We cut down forests, which makes a hotter climate, which causes more fire. It's a negative feedback loop, right? So we need to demonize deforestation, not say wildfires are dangerous and killing forests, because a wildfire will burn through at what's called mixed severity, areas of high severity, medium severity or intensity, and low intensity. You and I should actually be fun to walk into the our local recent example of this from 2020 was the Woodward Valley Fire, which was this lightning strike fire, actually not lit by humans or a campfire like the Vision Fire on Point Reyes Peninsula beforehand. But it was blackened, and they were trying to put it out. And actually, some areas they were, some of they weren't. They're trying to protect structures. But you walk in there now to that forest with a lot of blackened trees, and it is a garden of baby Douglas firs in the area I take people to.
And are owls living in those baby trees, Jack?
Yeah. No, owls will come in after a fire. Absolutely, owls.
And nest in a baby tree?
Yes. Well, no, not a baby tree in a black.
You're arguing just to argue. The
No,
owls
no.
lost their habitat, and you want to argue about me saying fires have destroyed forests.
Forests don't destroy. Yeah, I will argue that till forever.
Okay, stop jumping on mundane things
Forests
that are
aren't
taking us away from
destroyed.
the topic.
Forests don't destroy. Excuse me. Wildfires don't destroy forests. Humans do that.
Okay, and human-caused fires.
And
Jack, I'll show you pictures of destroyed forests. If it guess what? A city can be destroyed, and people will rebuild it. Does that mean that city wasn't destroyed?
I'm sorry, I got distracted reading a comment, so I wasn't present for that. I'm sorry. You can say it
And
again.
Corinne added to it. Yes, cats. I can speak to this from person. When I would go out and try to help wildlife, guess what I ran into more than wildlife? Cats living out in the wild, eating what little wildlife is left We have a pets unleashed upon the wild issue for sure. And on the other hand, I hate the idea of cats, being the impressive animals that they are, being locked inside all day. But they they wreak havoc on wildlife.
Let me see if I can resolve this little flap here before we move on this way, Skylar. Would you agree that um, human deforestation is a major driver of the climate crisis?
Yep.
Okay. I'll give you that there are more fires currently, but I would also add I've read a lot of Chad Hansen, a PhD scientist, and he said this is cyclical. There have been before humans. There were times when the climate heated and there were more fires, and there have not been a lot of that in the 70s and 80s. There weren't as many fires, and now it's sort of like catch up. Now, of course, it's because we've got a heated climate. But you are opposed to post-fire logging, is that correct? From the industry, claiming to help a forest after a fire by logging it. I assume you're opposed to that?
Yeah, it sounds suspicious.
Okay, and you are opposed to forest management, to go in to use chainsaws and masticators to trim forests so they don't burn?
Correct.
Okay, so we agree on all the main points. The rest of it we can dick around with the deck chairs on the Titanic, but
Yeah.
we agree on the main points. That's all. That's the important stuff. Yeah, you and I mean, that's why we do a show together. We agree that humans are the problem, and the wild nature, trees and animals are the solution. Please leave them alone. That's the takeaway here, right?
Well, the takeaway is whether it's a temporary damage or not, the habitat of the owls goes away. Maybe it comes back later, but in the meantime, these owls keep getting driven out of habitat, as do all the other animals
and all the other animals. Yeah, thank you. Actually, that's worth noting. It's funny when we tend to focus on the keystone or the endangered species, not well in the case here with the Marin County where I live, issues to stop forest management. There is literally no mention of all the other animals in the forest who are going to run the hell out of there when they start running chainsaws and masticating machines and chippers for years on end. It just drives animals away, and that's not even mentioned. It's not even mentioned in their reports. Unbelievable.
Speaking of fire, my girlfriend put on the last bus, which is about the Paradise Fires. Matthew McConaughey is in it. It just came out, and this guy goes back to get these kids out of a school in Paradise, California, in 2018, when PG&E caused a fire, multiple fires,
right?
Being willfully
negligent,
and throughout and guess where the sparks. I don't know if they intended to do this, but I almost grabbed a clip from it to show people. Oh, look where the sparks from the line landed on the invasive European grasses, not on a tree. That's not what spread the fire. And also I kept saying, are they going to mention what the wildlife are going through even once?
Did they?
No, they didn't even show wildlife.
All about the distress people are caused.
It was all about about the human loss, which is expected. But I was just like, really, it didn't even hint at it, huh?
So, do you want to move on to the controversial part of our show? Now that we have this relaxing intro, or not?
I'm gonna put music on in these and just nod.
That's what I've been doing. I've been listening. Yeah. So
okay, so you're gonna tie. Some people want to eat birds, like I eat what I kill, therefore you're good. Some people are doing it for deforestation. Some people are trying to save birds, and some people are trying to save birds in different ways.
It's the way we treat birds. I mean, it's funny. There's a Republican senator who loves owls. Don't go kill them in the forest. Thank you, Senator. We agree on that. And then, he's eating chicken. He's shooting ducks. I'm going to, go to my first vegan Thanksgiving hosted by friends of mine back in New York who are willing to, I said, they wanted me to come back east. Thanksgiving is coming up. That's why I also want to do a bird show here because, turkeys are birds and we don't even think about it. I was taught to eat turkey to say thanks. And I won't do that anymore at Thanksgiving. That seems hypocritical and monstrous to say the least. And they said, if you come back to New York, we'll create a vegan Thanksgiving in your honor.
Good for you.
Like, good for them. Thanks, Skyward. But really? I was like, really? You do that? Thank you. So I'm going to be going back to New York State, Westchester County, for a vegan Thanksgiving with a group of people, a wonderful family that I've been friends with for decades and love them dearly. They're not vegan. They're kind of wannabes. They're open to it. So hallelujah. And then that brings us to chickens. I'm Jewish, so chickens are probably literally in my blood. Chicken soup, and you eat a lot of chicken. It's very much part of the culture. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you get chicken dishes. I mean, chicken, chicken, chicken. When I went vegan, it's like I'm never going to eat chicken again. Oh my God! I'm a traitor to my culture. I'm not religious at all, but the culture in New York. So there's a young woman named Zoe Rosenberg, 23 years old, who snuck into she conspired with a group of people and broke into a chicken facility called Petaluma Poultry, which is a subsidiary of Purdue Farms, in June of 2023. And knowing the conditions in there would be awful, which they documented, a group of them documented what was going on in there, pulled out 4 really injured birds in very poor conditions. Because, of course, what people don't want to know and really don't want to see is the conditions in these giant industrial chicken sheds, which
Is this are they? Do these qualify as cage free? By the way,
oh
are
yeah,
they
yeah,
more?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Really?
well, what happened is, and I do want to put a caveat here. I'm not an expert in this issue. I got a lot more knowledge than I've had just a few weeks ago, but I just want to qualify. There's so much more to know about this topic once you dig into it. You and I talked about this, Skyward, how much work you have to do to research a shark film, and making a film, you really get your facts right. So this is a podcast. I've done some research. I'm going to try to cover where I say I think that's the case, and other things that I've heard which seem to be true. But in short, yeah, all the cage-free facilities that we're told are better and called humane, which is not a registered word with the USDA, so you can call anything humane. You literally can put humane on any package. There's no registration for just putting it on your package. Instead of having battery cages where the chickens are piled up, remove the cage and put them on the floor of a giant industrial shed the size of a football field. In the dark, doesn't matter. They can have one little doorway the size of a dog door in the corner of the shed, and as long as the chickens have access to that door, which they may never use, that's considered free range by the USDA. Complete misdirection, misrepresentation, if you will, a lie.
Let's. So I just looked this up. This is Purdue chicken
House,
farm.
not a farm. And
Well,
I use those words interchangeably. And I don't know enough even about how many facilities. Thank you for that picture. Is an industrial shed. Now, that's not the one that we're talking about, to be precise. I'm not sure which one that is. Corinne would help. I mean, we could have a guest on and do a show on this, but I just
what do you mean by which one?
meaning. So I'm talking about a woman named Zoe Rosenberg,
Okay,
who
but
went
this is Purdue
into,
chicken farm.
this is Purdue Farms. Is it Petaluma Poultry, the specific Purdue Farms shed? I don't know.
Okay, let me look that up. Go ahead.
So you can find that. In any case, she wanted to call attention to the horrible conditions in there, which people don't know about and don't really want to know about. And she did it by going in and choosing 4 birds in the moment who looked really sick or injured, as many of them are. Supposedly up to like 10% of the birds in these facilities don't make it to market, meaning, an early death for consumption. Because the conditions are cramped and crowded, and they get sepsis and infections and disease and sores. And there's just, look at that place. That is not a natural setting. And there's even a flashlight or a flash from the camera where they're in the dark without access to the outdoors. And this is free range, folks. This is free range. Or they don't go outside. They have a minimal access, I explained before. So she went in to pull out 4 chickens, and she got arrested, and she got convicted. And she stands to, on December 3rd, face sentencing of up to 4.5 years in prison for doing this, to raise awareness for the issue, to get so-called publicity, as well as, while doing so, save the lives of 4 birds that become representative of the conditions in there. And she very cleverly, wisely gave them names, because chickens, of course, like cows and pigs in these facilities, are not considered animals with rights the way your cat or dog can have some rights. You're not supposed to kick or abuse your cat or dog. You can be reported and convicted for animal abuse, but that does not apply to all the animals, the millions or billions of animals across the world that we confine for food and for clothing and for other purposes. They're just possessions. They're property under the law.
Corinne,
No legal rights.
Corinne is providing some good information here because she seems to be correcting a couple of things. But start with her first one.
She went into a slaughterhouse on a farm. She rescued chickens off a truck. So the picture, I do have here a picture of her, and I saw like that was a truck with the trays that she pulled out where she grabbed these birds on a truck. So they were being shipped to a slaughterhouse. Corinne, is that correct? And it says this slaughterhouse sources from a few cage-free farms. And she said the chickens' name indeed are Ivy, Poppy, Aster, and Azalea. They named them. Thank you. So the picture actually, I guess I can do this. I'm going to share my screen here.
This one, by the way, Jack, I changed it. This one is the Petaluma poultry. And obviously this one was taken during daytime or with the lights on.
Okay.
It's interesting. It would be interesting to hear human beings argue that this isn't horrifying. That this is a good situation. I guess it looks better than the other one. The other one was total darkness, and it looked like the chickens were having a hard time even keeping their feathers on.
And this is where I'm not an expert. Like, do some of them have windows? Some of them don't. Do some of them have artificial light? Some of them don't. How often are the lights on? I mean, there's a whole world of research to do here. And I don't claim to know this stuff. And so Corinne did, yes, Jack, the truck was delivering animals to the slaughterhouse. Okay, so she got them off a truck. I didn't even know that. So I had that fact wrong. I mean, again, I want to touch on this show topic about treating birds like objects. And then this young woman, in my opinion, I did go to one day of court for the day of the closing arguments. And that was really fascinating political theater, where I learned that Purdue Farms, which is a giant company, which is, trying to put the kibosh on any kind of activism that would, God forbid, result in people understanding and seeing this kind of an image and worse, and the condition of the birds, they really came down hard. They actually, what was the stat I had? She was ultimately tried on one felony count of conspiracy, and then 3 misdemeanors, including of trespassing. But originally, I learned the original charges that the Petaluma poultry attorneys brought was 7 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. And the judge knocked those down, thinking many of them were not valid. I mean, that's how hard they want to come down on this person and on this woman. And when they did find her guilty on, last Thursday, was it, when I was in court? The prosecutor, which is the DA, working on behalf of the industry, Petaluma Poultry, said she should immediately be put in prison, in jail, before the sentencing date of December 3rd, because get this, she's considered a threat to the community. Right. And you got to see a picture of this girl. I mean, she's like the poster child for someone who is not a threat to the community. And, of course, you can say if you go around another facility or break into a facility, you'll get an additional 5 years or something. There's plenty of ways to stop that. They ended up giving her an ankle monitor. But she went home that day, and now she's awaiting trial. And I think it's a significant case. So that's why I'm jumping on, outside of my lane, from forests and cows and cattle to the chicken business.
Yeah, it's significant for multiple reasons. And I just thought of a couple. Corinne's providing some information. She did this after 7 years of submitting criminal animal cruelty reports to all the appropriate authorities. And this makes me think, it's like, when laws don't work, when the process doesn't work, people are driven to take action. If you don't want people to take action, then follow the rules, follow the law. And even the law allows insane abuse. So we can't even get people to get to decency. But this like punishing someone who rescued chickens, this extremely is sending a message. And it reminds me of what Trump's doing to free speech. It's like, don't say this shit or you will come to an end.
So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a picture of Corinne will correct me. Corinne, you're our resident expert here. But so that on the left, I believe, is a picture of her taken on the day of the crime? Is it rescue or is it criminal trespass and theft? In any, I mean, to say the very least. And I or that she, then bandaged her feet because they had, injuries to the feet, of course. And the thing is, I was just at the San Francisco Vegan Festival this past weekend with my humane washing machine exhibit, and I got into all these discussions. And humane washing, which is, oh, I just get it from the good, small, organic family farms, that whole lie of the industry exists so that people can say, no, no, I get backyard chickens. I get the good chickens. I wouldn't engage in this terrible stuff, which is a lie because, the vast majority of it, 95% or 98% of the cows, chickens, and pickens, listen to me, cows, pigs, and chickens that people eat have to come from industrial facilities. There's no way to produce enough of it. That's the big lie that people, of course, buy into because they want to keep eating and not look at their habits and look at how we've all been fooled by this monstrous industry that treats animals brutally like objects without feelings, unlike they're very much like our cats and dogs that we, of course, live with and have learned to love. That's why this is important to me.
The first video I ever did about chickens was like one of the last times I ever stepped foot in a Costco, and I just saw the never-ending line of chickens in the back, ready to replace the ones in the front. And I'm just thinking, these people shopping here are telling themselves that these are all coming from a good place.
Right.
I mean, it's Costco. There's not a fucking chance in hell. And there wasn't a chance in hell in the first place. But it's just like, people don't care about the truth. They care about being lied to effectively to continue being shitty.
Exactly. And, how do people wake up from this? It took me years and years. As I always say, it was in my 50s. So there's, thank you, close-ups of some of the birds in close-up that are in the facilities. They can't stand, they can't walk, they have feathers grinded off them. I mean, it's just, of course, this is the stuff the industry has to hide. Otherwise, people, I mean, I guess that's the good news. If I want to try to find any glimmer of hope, if there were, for instance, at the trial, I heard one of the talking points is, if you could just put cameras, live video cameras, inside these wonderful food production facilities to show how well the animals are tended, we'd see the truth is the opposite. That of course,
Why is that asking for very much?
Indeed.
People pretend. Don't these places in Petaluma, et cetera, talk about people want to know where their food comes from? It's the local food connection, and yet you don't want to put cameras in your facilities.
Exactly. I mean, and so the value for me of an activist doing this kind of outrageous, crazy behavior that the world doesn't understand is to get all these questions into the public discourse. So they're talked about in the media because, some young woman is risking literally her freedom and could have years in prison.
So Corinne obviously follows this closely.
Yeah. So she says, thank you, Skylar. 40,000 6-week-old chickens are killed here every night. That's hard to believe if that's really true. I'm going to ask you to confirm that as I keep talking about it. 6 weeks old, meaning that's when they're large enough to be brought to market, to be killed as children. That's the other dirty secret of the industry, which my words won't do it justice. But cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys are all killed when I would consider them still children, or at least adolescents at best. That they don't get to have an adulthood. So people think, oh, it's just one bad day. It's like they're raised to be killed as children. I got someone at my front door, no one here. Carry the torch. I'll be right back. Someone's banging on the door. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'm on podcast for a moment.
Well, Corinne, we should have had you call in. You can call in if you want to. Would you like to call in what it was like in that courtroom? It's interesting that we're talking about 6-week-old chickens, and we haven't even gotten to the ones that are killed immediately when they come out the wrong gender in the egg industry, just fall into the grinder as the cute little babies. Sure. All right. So Corinne is going to call in. I am going to put the link on the screen. And if you click that link, it should prompt your computer to ask you to give camera and microphone permissions, if that's what you're saying yes to. Yes. Corinne says they're babies. Well, humans will argue these silly things. 6 weeks isn't a baby if you don't want it to be.
So, Corinne, is this off a truck then? This is a close up. It's kind of hard to see what's going on there, but those are blue rubber gloves pulling at a tray. I mean, I saw a video of this in the trial to show these chickens are jammed in here. Then this is a truck for transport. It wasn't made clear when I even saw it live. I'll have Corinne corroborate that. But I mean, the irony is the prosecutor was showing that she grabbed, 4 chickens in these drawers and put them in a bucket, a 5-gallon plastic bucket to transport them, and was saying, look how cruel and terrible it is. This woman cares about chickens, not mentioning that the chickens are jammed into a shelf. I thought this was in a facility. This is apparently in a truck, but this is how they're treated. And then, of course, they're young and they're going to be brought to slaughter anyway. So the fact that they would even question that her motives were good, which is to rescue chickens and set an example of what goes on there, and to try to change, cruelty laws so they're actually enforced for not just cats and dogs, but other animals. It was so absurd. It was just demonizing this girl. And again, I pride myself in being objective. Like, you want to say she broke in private property and stole from a facility. Well, technically those are the laws. She's making a bigger case. And by the way, wasn't allowed to use the necessity defense. Have you heard of that one? That was new to me. I just learned about this, which is you can break the window of a car to get a dog out of a hot car, for instance, which is, breaking the law. It's vandalism, but it's to save the life of a dog. So you can commit a lesser crime as a defense in the service of preventing a larger, greater crime. So that's what she was denied in the lower court, in Superior Court in Santa Rosa, for making that defense. That's the judge's judgment. They will appeal this case, and in appellate court, that'll happen. Back in San Francisco court, by the way, where I was for the elk and cows case at Point Reyes, that's where case law can be established. So they might be able to make that defense. I don't know. Those are more details for a future show. Yeah.
We're talking about money, though, right?
Of course.
They don't want to. We're talking about profit margins and fuck being kind, fuck being humane, fuck being compassionate. We got to worry about our profit margins, because this isn't about this person or any other person being a thief or a threat to the community. It's a threat to an industry's profits.
Yes.
Even if you don't like this person, the theme we can walk away with is that the real issue here is people who love money having some of their money taken away from them because of exposure that they make their money being pieces of shit.
Yes, of course. And as an activist, I always come at these things from at least 3 different angles. One is, you expose the corruption, and as you reveal that it's all about money. They don't care about the sake of the animals. And then you can also go to the public, as we're doing here, to just educate people that what they're buying into is a really, not just corrupt, but really disgustingly cruel system. And they're lying to you about it being disgustingly cruel, because otherwise you wouldn't want to participate in it. And that's another way to get at them. Hate consumer demand, reduce it.
Susan says she should have had her trial moved, but I doubt if it's that easy. I mean, can you just get a trial moved to where you want the trial to be?
Susan, I don't know the answer to that. I actually spoke to the. Of course, there are smart attorneys, and of course, they wanted to try to move it out of the county. They're not idiots, right? I mean, I didn't even ask the question because it's such a common sense one. Of course, they wouldn't want to have it in Sonoma County, which is, tied into this industry monetarily in 1,000 ways. Of course, they would have tried to do that. And I just assume, I don't know, I assume they were denied. And then, of course, what's interesting is when it goes to appellate court, that will be in San Francisco. So won't that be interesting? It won't be as, folks who live and work in Sonoma County, where this industry is big.
No, it'll just be techies who pretend like they're connected by supporting factory farms.
Well, Mr. Weisenheimer, I was in that Superior Court, and unless those judges have changed seats in 3 years, which is possible, but not likely, those are 3 guys who are definitely not techies. They're old white men, of course, or middle-aged old white men. So it'll be really interesting political theater. And I hope for Zoe's sake, at the very least, they realize, whatever they're going to do to her, it doesn't need to incarcerate her. She's not a threat to the community. That's absurd.
Corinne, if you ever see Jack again, or the two of us, maybe we can walk you through this, but you should just have to click that link that I put up there. I'm sorry that you're having problems. You can try it again. I'm watching for it to appear on the screen, but we are over 10, so let's wrap up. Maybe we'll get Corinne, maybe we won't.
Okay, so if anybody wants to get more information, the website for the organization is righttorescue.com, a group called DXE, Direct Action Everywhere. This was the day outside the courtroom, and December 3rd, I believe, is the court date for sentencing. So that's back at the Sonoma County Courthouse. But in any case, righttorescue.com if you want more information. I at the moment planning to go on December 3rd. I'm just coming back from Thanksgiving in New York in time to do that, I believe. But I think that's an important to put people in that courthouse so that, well, again, for media attention. The third thing we get is media attention, so people pay attention and learn about the industries that support torturing and killing animals. It's just horrific.
There's a website called SonomaCountyFactoryFarms.com. So another organization working to expose it. And aren't we all fed a line that these factory farms exist somewhere else where the bad people are, that they're not here?
Well, I mean, making it even more of a nettle, this group, DXE, has a campaign about, ban factory farms. Where they don't say ban animal farms or ban chicken farms, they say ban factory farms, which as a strategist, I take issue with. And I think the most effective way is I understand why they do it. I mean, I understand the thinking, which is don't attack the whole industry. It's too broad and you won't get enough people on board with your movement. Just ban the factories. But I don't think that's an effective strategy in the long run. It's just a strategy disagreement.
Leah came on and talked about how damaging that is. And Skyjack Morgan talked about, you're basically causing yourself to fight a battle twice, and people are likely to be exasperated already after the first time.
Exactly. Well, especially because you can't even win that fight anyway. Then this is why we see the push for all the packaging saying small farm, which you can call anything small. CAFO has a definition, concentrated animal feeding operation, of 600 or 700 cows in the cattle business. I don't know what it is for pigs and chickens, but you can say it's small compared to what? So it won't win you anything. I like to, my style is just go for the heart of it. As Leah is saying, as you were saying, she and Skyjack Morgan were saying, just say, don't eat chickens, don't eat animals. And all of them are tortured just without exception. And of course, killed as children. So it's just indefensible if you're willing to actually look at the facts.
Well, the question to ask yourselves is, are you looking for excuses to continue to do what you're already doing? Are you finding a way to lie to yourself?
Yeah.
Or do you want to get to the bottom of it and stop contributing to the cruelty? Because as soon as people start arguing, oh, this and oh, that, I'm like, you don't know. You don't know, but you're saying what you want to believe. And you haven't put in any effort to go and find out if what you're saying is true, because you want it to be true even if it isn't.
I refer back to my dear sweet mother, salt of the earth, not a dishonest bone in her body, would never hurt an animal. I came back from college having read about battery cages for chickens. I didn't know any of that stuff, and debeaking and shitting on top of each other and all this stuff. And I said, Mom, I just read this book. I was 19 years old. That's why you don't send your kids to college. Came back in the summer. Mom, I just read this book. And she says, stop, don't tell me. And I go, what? And she says, don't tell me. I won't be able to eat them.
Right.
There it is. She was straight up about it. I don't want to know. A nice Jewish
and that's the species that's in charge. That's not comforting.
Full circle. My theory, we have the bird brains. Birds are highly intelligent.
Full circle, baby.
We have bird brains, baby. Oh, what a neat bow, Jack. That was just so smooth. Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. So this is Skyward Thomas of Watching Humans, and I'm Jack Geshish to something of the Tree Spirit Project. And all of these shows are on my website as well, treespiritproject.com/podcasts. So see you next Tuesday, 9:00 Eastern Time, as always. Thank you, Skyward, for hosting, my friend.
Thank you, Jack, for the information.